morning, guys. So we're leaving the Pine Knob Shelter here in Maryland. Had a good evening. We had Webster there, Chris, number of section hikers. It was a good group, and just got to sort of sit around for a little bit. Last night was my first night in my hammock on this trip. And it had been quite a while since I'd been in a hammock. So went up okay, no problem, of course. I have a new fly, so I had to sort of tweak that. A lighter weight fly, but it's also cut back more, which means coverage in the rain is an issue. And even though the weather was calling for no rain, I think I've mentioned, I can only recall 2 nights on this whole trip that we didn't have precipitation. It's possible that there were a couple nights where it was just so cold. I didn't feel like I could use my tent without the fly, but I really wanted to. The reason I paid attention to it was I really wanted to sort of cowboy camp a couple nights, even if it was inside of my tent without the fly. I love that night sky with the the stars as a blanket. I really love that Big Agnes Copper Spur HVUL2. I want to give the hammock a try, but to tell you the truth, because of managing the space and all the gear and everything, I certainly felt last night the advantages of having the tent over the hammock. Right now I'm using my poncho as a ground sheet, and of course you need that even more with the hammock because you just have the fly, but open like a tarp fly, not buttoned down like you have with a tent. So anyway, we'll work through that. It's first night. I'll swing you around and let you see the path. Right now, the trail is got very little rocks. I expect much more so as we move north. It's just damp and cold, and frankly, a beautiful hiking day. May not be a beautiful day to do other things, but for hiking, it is perfect. So let me just swing you around here and give you a shot of it, and then I will get back to you if there is something of real consequence or significance. This is going to be a little bit more jittery than my normal. I apologize, but I have of course the camera image on the camera facing the screen, and that one is not stabilized, so just bear with me. But I just want to give you a shot of the screen. Now I see another southbounder. Been a lot of southbounders out here. That's awesome. That's a big pack. I don't know what he's got on there, but looks like he's got a guitar or something. Maybe a day hiker or section hiker. Okay, let me get back to you guys. Have a great one, huh? Okay, we saw a lot of this in other environments, in other weeks, where the water sources come right over and water courses come right over the trail. And so this would not be particularly unique in those environments, but here we haven't had that. Maryland, frankly, is much drier than I really expected. And as far as sustained, water sources. Look at this. I mean, for a spring coming out of the ground, that is right out of the ground, nothing above it. And then here's a separate. Look at the volume. Wow. That's like a fire hose. I mean, okay, yeah, we had a lot of rain over the last week, but it didn't rain yesterday. And frankly, didn't rain much the day before. Like I think it was just in the morning. For that to still produce, you don't have a huge mountain there. For that still to be producing that level of spring water, wow, that's pretty neat. That must be a natural spring that has some sort of pressure. Maybe it's a deeper level. I don't want to say the aquifer, but when you're looking to sink a well, you're looking for sort of the water table. I wonder if that spring isn't somehow being drawn from the water table deeper, and there's some pressurization to it that causes that to still produce that amount of water so many days out from rain. Most of the others have dropped off significantly, which I presume that one's dropped off significantly. And that's a lot. Anyway, kind of neat. Well, I don't think I'm in Pennsylvania yet. And I understood that the rocks really start in eastern Pennsylvania. But I do point out one thing is the initial impression, which sort of furthers on to what I had commented back in Virginia. And that is, if the rocks are like they are here, in which they are big and close together, this is a lot easier traveling than Virginia, for example, or in North Carolina, or other places where we had rocks. This is almost like Grayson Highlands, because you can step from rock surface to rock surface. Well, that may be the flattest and firmest surface we've walked on in a month, if in fact you can do that. It's slow, given that, but we've been staring at our feet now for 1,000 miles anyway, for roots, rocks, ruts, and everything else. So it's slow, sort of meticulously placing your feet. And of course, when it's wet like this, it definitely has the potential to cause you to slip and bust a kneecap, or twist an ankle or break a toe or something, no doubt. But as far as the rock surfaces and what they represent, as far as a trail to proceed on, I'd far rather have this than those intermittent smaller rocks combined with the roots and all of the other things where your foot is never level. It's rarely on a firm surface. They roll back with you, the rocks do. That is, to me, was far more concerning as far as causing an injury than this, even though admittedly with these being wet, they are a significantly greater threat than they would be on a nice, or if they were dry. So we'll see. Again, I'm not popping off too early. It's just an initial impression. this misty field through which you can just see the outlines of the trees and trail beyond it. Seemed, given our location on the ridges which form the skirmish lines of the Civil War, seemed to hearken back to the past and the ghosts of the past as we walk along alone. Today continues to be a beautiful day for hiking. Pretty water source I thought I'd share with you. This is the Raven Rock shelter. It's just 13:03 for me on the day, so I'm not going to stop. I'm going to stop here momentarily, but I'm not going to stay here overnight. I still have 6.7 to go. But the issue with the 6.7 is that takes me to a road. That road has no campsites. It does have water, but there is not another shelter. In other words, this is the closest one. Wow, people are already here, or still here from last night. Look at that. We'll see who it is. Could be anybody. Could be part of the horde. Could be section hikers. Oh boy, that's a pretty shelter. The privy looks older. So this shelter is a slightly smaller version of the Whiskey Hollow shelter. All right, so I wouldn't say it's reached maybe tramily level yet, but we are building a real camaraderie here. The guy on the left, tall guy, that you'll see with the red pack, that's Webster. Reason is it because he's like literally carrying a 900-page book with him that he's reading, which is just crazy talk. Next to him, up front, is Chris. Chris just got on the trail in Waynesboro. He's doing probably a section. He's going to go up north with us, and then he's got to go back to college. So we need to get him a trail name. The person in the middle there, that's Beekeeper. We just met her. She's just graduated from college and is doing a flip-flop out of Harper's Ferry to Katahdin and then Harper's Ferry down to Springer. And then Shortcut here. You guys know him. So we've been tracking along hiked all day yesterday together, and so anyway, we're gonna shoot down here to the Mason Dixon line, and then we're gonna go to Penmar Road and jump a shuttle into the the Cobblestone Inn. Yeah, so that's gonna be cool. So I'll let you know when we get to Mason Dixon line. This is it.
Hey, this is a video, so just go strike a couple good poses.